road to CHOGM makes a stop right here at Bay Gardens. We're right here at the local shop and tasting bar, where we're going to be talking to three individuals, three distinguished ladies who are part of the preparations for the People's Forum. There are four fora that will be part of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. There's the People's Forum, the Business Forum, the Youth Forum, and the Women's Forum. For this week's edition, we're focusing on the People's Forum. It is going to engage civil society organizations to get their concerns. So why are we stopping at the local shop and tasting bar? We're going to be telling you about that. Walk with us inside as we talk to the three ladies and tell you why this establishment is an example of what they want to project to the 2.7 billion people across the Commonwealth. An exciting edition awaits you as we speak with Senator Abina St. Luce, Brittany MacDonald, and Zara Errol on this special edition of the program. Senator Abina St. Luce is a co-lead of the committee planning the People's Forum right here in Antigua and Barbuda as part of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, CHOGM, to be held right here in this country in November. And she is immersed in the planning, immersed in the hive of activities in relation to what we can expect for the People's Forum. My understanding it is going to be game-changing. Senator, thank you so much for talking with us right here on the road to CHOGM.
Well, first things first, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to discuss the People's Forum with you.
Absolutely.
Now,
how is it going?
Oh, my goodness. Well, first things first, we have been actively in the planning stage since early last year. I would say probably January, February of last year. And a lot has happened since then. I don't know if you're aware, but in April of this year, April 7th, we had the People's Forum's launch. It was at the John St. Louis Conference Center. That is the very first time the People's Forum has ever had a launch.
Wow.
And the People's Forum has been around, I think, since maybe the 1980s. Don't quote me on that, but it would have been a while now. The People's Forum has been in existence and part of CHOGM. So the launch was an opportunity to educate the public a little bit more about the purpose of the People's Forum. And I just want to tell you quickly, because I'm surprised that a lot of people don't even know what the People's Forum is. So the People's Forum actually represents civil society. It ensures civil society's voices, issues, concerns are heard by the heads of government. Now, when I say civil society, we're talking about NGOs, community activists, you and me, any one of us who has a strong opinion about things going on in society that we want our governments to pay attention to. So it's very interesting. This particular CHOGM for the People's Forum is very exciting. We recognize something. You know, the world is so full of information. A lot of it is negative, and the average person has learned how to tune out that noise. So lots of the messaging that's coming out to activists, it's not hitting the target properly. But we recognize something, because part of civil society is the creative sector, or creatives are part of that. We realize that when an artist speaks using their art form, whether it's a song, a dance, a piece of music, a piece of artwork, you feel it. It evokes an emotional response, right? And so we said, wait a minute, that's an impactful way to bring the messaging coming from our activists back to the public. That's an impactful way to ensure that you're hearing the message. So this People's Forum, CHOGM 2026, we're going to marry the creative industries to advocacy, to activism. You're going to see the two coming together. So now activists are going to be partnering with the creatives, and the creatives are going to be the voice going out there. Because now when the creatives tell that story, when the creatives speak about the issues that matter to us, you will feel it. You will no longer be able to ignore it. Renewed energy, right? So we're very excited about that. So because of that, the creative industry is a very important part of the People's Forum. And it's very interesting because there's the exciting part of it, the arts, but we also understand that at the end of the day, creatives, it's a business, right? These people, they make a living following their passion and their arts. And so one of the things we want to do, we don't want to just say, hey, creatives, come to the table and help us get this message across. We also want to make sure, creatives, are you okay? Because we want you to continue to be able to carry that mantle. So one of the things we're doing is we're looking at the creatives and saying, how can we empower you? How can we help you turn your craft into a business so that you can dedicate your life to your craft? You know, and I want to go back to the launch. I think the launch was on April 7th. That was in the morning. And by the way, one of the exciting things about the launch, because we really wanted to like get that message across about the creative industries, Zara Errol and Tavia Hunt, who are both members of our task force, we tasked them with the job of creating a performance. And by the way, at the launch, something else was launched. It was called the Commonwealth Quilt.
Yes.
You heard about that?
Yes, absolutely.
So for a period of time, the Commonwealth Foundation wanted all the creatives, and you didn't have to be a creative, they wanted any and everybody within the Commonwealth to tell a story. Tell a story about your life, tell a story about the things that matter to you, and to do this, they wanted you to come up with a creative piece. They even encourage people who never pursued art in any way, shape, or form, dig deep into that creative side of you and create something. You know, during the launch, Samantha Marshall, well, Her Excellency, now Ambassador Samantha Marshall, she wrote a poem.
Oh.
I've known her for a while. She's not a poet.
I never knew that she was a
but
poet.
But she wrote a poem,
wow,
and she read it while addressing the crowd. And everybody was like, wow, it was a very good piece. But she was inspired by the People's Forum and the work we're doing for the People's Forum. You look like you have a question for me.
I'm thinking about how it is using it as an opportunity to bring out, to inspire.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
well, Ambassador Samantha Marshall now, and how it could possibly do that to others here in Antigua and
Yes.
across the Commonwealth.
That's right. And that's powerful, right? It's
Extraordinary.
impactful.
Extraordinary.
So we're encouraging you to think about what matters to you, but we're also encouraging you to find a creative way to express yourself, which is very therapeutic too, right? So it's helping us on so many levels. But so after that launch, right, and that was magical, right, to have somebody who's not a poet, a lawyer by profession, write a poem. But later in that day, we had our first stakeholders meeting here in Antigua. Now, I want you to understand the way how the People's Forum program is created. You know, the other forums, their program's already set. They already have an idea. This is what we're going to talk about. For example, the Business Forum. We know exactly what we're going to talk about, says the Business Forum. And they've created their program. Again, this is about civil society. This is ensuring that all the people of the Commonwealth are heard, that we understand what are the common issues within the Commonwealth and making sure they're addressed by the heads of government. So what that means, though, it means you need to have multiple conversations within the Commonwealth. You need time to do that. Absolutely. You can't do that in a week.
Absolutely.
So for the whole of this year, and it's going to be going on for a couple more months, throughout the Commonwealth, there are individuals who are having stakeholder meetings. There's an individual who's doing it for the Caribbean region. There's somebody doing it more for like the Middle East and so forth. And they're having a series of these stakeholder meetings where they're bringing different individuals from the civil society, NGOs, activists, women's groups and things like youth groups and all of that, climate groups, even historians and so on. They're bringing them to the table and they're trying to pull out from them what are the common issues, right, within my region. But they're also trying to see what are the common issues within the Commonwealth. And then that's going to shape the program. That is what's going to help us figure out what will our panel discussions look like, what kind of workshops can come out of this, what kind of creative performances are required to help ensure these issues are being highlighted. So in Antigua, right after the creative launch, which would have been the Commonwealth Quilt launch and the People's Forum launch, which is all one thing, we had our first stakeholders meeting where we had NGOs here in Antigua. I will say this, I am a little sad because 100 and something invitations went out, right? And I think maybe we got a third of the people. But it's okay because it just shows that we need continuous dialogue, continuous interactions with that part of a society,
so
with
they
civil
will have
society.
more opportunities to come
Right,
in.
there will be more opportunities. But even outside of CHOGM, it shows us outside of CHOGM that it is very important that those types of discussions continue to happen. Because that's how we as a people understand what are the problems of the nation, right?
Absolutely. Let's talk about the thought process that went into determining that you're going to marry the creatives with advocacy. So in other words, you're going to have the creative industries or creative industry across the Commonwealth tell the stories to the heads of government and to the entire 2.7 billion people across the Commonwealth about the issues that affect, the issues affecting civil society. What made, because you would have had several options in terms of what format the civil society,
Well, I want you to
the People's Forum. Why did you choose this?
There will be traditional. There will be the traditional format too, where we have a regular report and reporting to the heads and so forth. You know, the traditional stuff. But And again, it's very interesting. I think it's based on conversations with the Commonwealth Foundation, because they're the ones really in charge of the People's Forum. All of the times they've had CHOGM and they've had the People's Forum at these different countries, art kept bubbling up to the top. And by the way, going back to that stakeholders meeting where I said only a third, maybe that showed up, the majority of them were the creatives. The creative sector ensured to be there in their numbers. And I think that tells us something.
So they put themselves at the table, essentially.
They made sure they were there. And, you know, they were the most vocal ones. Yes, they spoke about the challenges of being a creative, but they spoke about the challenges of society. Because the reality is when an artist creates, they're not creating something out of like a fantasy. They're showing you snapshots of life, right? They're moved by something. When a painter paints, they're moved by something that's happening in society, right? When a person writes a song, they're writing about something that concerns them, whether it's love or death or war or peace, right? So what we found at these stakeholder meetings, and again, this is based on feedback from the Commonwealth Foundation, the creatives keep coming over and over. When the call is put out, they always answer. So you have to stop and you have to like acknowledge and respect that.
Absolutely.
But yet we still understand as a society, all these other issues, they matter. The things like, believe it or not, sickle cell anemia, heart trouble, mental health is a huge one. Climate change is a massive one. So we want to ensure, but these things impact creatives too. They too worry about climate change. They too worry about health and mental health. So we said, okay, you know what, you guys are the loudest ones in these spaces. So it makes sense. Let you help us be the you be the messenger. You help us deliver the message.
Because you're impacted as well by
You're
these
impacted.
issues.
You are a person, right?
Who are the people organized? Is it does
Like,
Antigua Barbuda organizing it, or organizing it in concert with the Commonwealth Secretary?
It is really the Commonwealth Foundation. The People's Forum is their baby. And then here in Antigua Underground, obviously, they need representation. So we are the liaison between the government and the main government task force and the people, and the Commonwealth Foundation.
Excellent. So the Commonwealth Foundation and Antigua Barbuda's government.
And I just want to say one thing about our team, because I'm very proud of the team that we've created. We have representation, as you know, with Zara Erol. She is the person who's our main liaison person with the creative sector, but we also have Tavia Hunt, who's working along with her. We have Brittany McDonald, who you'll speak to as well. She is our liaison for the NGOs. We have individuals who have backgrounds in project management. We have individuals whose focus is on, what do you call it, events planning and things like that. Of course, we have Honorable Samantha Marshall, I should say Your Excellency Samantha Marshall. Her background is in law. That's very important. My background is also in project management and in architecture, but I'm a creative at heart too. You know, I did at one time want to be a painter, but my mother said, I'm not going to feed you if it doesn't work out. But you see,
you still have time. You still have time.
But these are things that we're trying to combat too, because we want to show that the creative sector does make money.
Where will the People's Forum be held? And can those watching the program, can they join in?
Okay, so the People's Forum will be happening at AUA, which we're very happy about because we're going to be in the same place as the heads.
Yes.
So we're hoping that some of the heads will come over and see what we're about. But it will be at AUA in the main building. And what else?
How can people register? How can they attend?
Oh, yes.
Is it open to everybody?
And that's the beautiful thing about the People's Forum. Some forums are by invitation only. I don't know if you know that. The People's Forum is open call. So anybody who's interested in attending, you just go through the accreditation process. You go in, you sign up, you go online. The government is setting up the website that takes care of all of that. You'll be vetted like everybody else, and then you'll be given permission to take part.
Excellent.
And it's exciting.
Excellent. So open to all. Happening in the AUA, what's the particular date? Because it's the entire CHOGM takes place between November 1 to 4, but People's Forum specifically.
So the 2nd and 3rd, that's when our magic happens. But then on the 4th, the last day, is when civil society is able to meet with the foreign ministers. So that's the foreign ministers roundtable where they meet, but civil society will be present as well. And that too falls under the Commonwealth Foundation.
Excellent. A final question. We're surrounded here by local art, local products, whether it is foods, whether it is dyes, whether it is, confectionaries. I mean, works of art.
You're
jewelry.
Excited.
It's fantastic.
You
it is fantastic.
Excited.
Like a kid in a candy shop, except that this is a shop focusing on all local products. this is a tangible manifestation, isn't it, of how the creative industry can be used, can be seen as a not only creative but as a profitable ecosystem.
That's right.
Will, for example, this area, the local shop and tasting bar, be used as an example of this in the People's Forum?
I think.
Will it get any sort of
any
sort of highlight?
It will be present. You know, we will speak about how the spaces like this creates opportunities for sure. But of course, though, we're tailoring our messaging for the whole Commonwealth. Yes, we are going to fine-tune it for Antigua and for the region, but we are going to show how, you know, the creative industry is and can be an important part of the economy. Excellent. It can help with your GDP. But I want to point out one thing. There was a second stakeholders meeting the day after that main one where we said, you know what, we need to meet with the creatives because they're the ones who are the most vocal. And the Commonwealth Foundation said, where should we meet? And they wanted to go to all sorts of formal, boring, stuffy places. I said, no, we have to go where creatives feel like they're at home so that they would want to speak. And they're like, where is that? You know, Antigua doesn't have, and thank God for Lady Williams, she's pushing for us to have a national art museum. You know that, right? Right. National Art Gallery, I should say. So we had a meeting with her.
And there's a museum, of course,
with the Commonwealth Foundation. We're so excited because what I was going to say is, you know, if we're in the US or the UK or Canada and we said we want to go somewhere with the creators, we could easily pick some art gallery or something, or art museum. And I said, I want that kind of vibe for this meeting. And I said, this place, local.
So you came here?
I came here. I told everybody we're coming here, and I spoke to the owners, and I said, look, I'm going to take over your space. I hope you don't mind. And they are such a warm set of people. They love the creative sector.
And just for the audience, what's the name of the owner?
Oh, the owner's David Murphy and his wife, Sonu Murphy. She's a painter, and David is, well, he's a, oh my goodness, he makes everything. He makes gin, he makes jams, he makes everything. They're fabulous. They're business people, but they're creatives. Excellent. And I said, can we use your space? And they said, of course, because there's an art gallery in here. And we all cooped up. Even people like Cam Cordis were here. Quite a few of our artists were here. And we sat in that corner with all the paintings as our backdrop. And the conversation was beautiful. It was perfect. We learned so much. We learned about their concerns. We learned about their fears. And I can tell you from that one conversation, it triggered quite a bit of what is going to happen in our program. So
here's the last question, Senator. What would, in your view, constitute success of the People's Forum? What, perhaps, one or two objectives or outcomes that would, in your view, say that, yes, it made an impact that you really set out for?
Well, certainly to foster a greater appreciation for the creative industries, seeing how it can contribute to national growth, to the GDP, to the economy. As I joked with you about my mother saying, if you become a painter, I'm not going to feed you, but showing people, well, actually, no, a person can be a painter and do exceptionally well, even here in Antigua and Barbuda. Another thing I think would be great coming out of this is successfully marrying the two, I said earlier, the creative sector with advocacy and activism. If we can see here in Antigua and Barbuda that the two does come together and it does, you know, it creates that impact we feel it will make. And by the way, during one of those stakeholders meetings, we introduced, for example, Blue Dragonfly, which focuses on autism in adults, to Hammer Films. Blue Dragonfly has been pushing hard on its own to try and create awareness. And we put them in the room, in the same space with Hammer Films. And a conversation started about how can I work with Hammer Films to properly document and tell the story of my plight? And that's what we want to see. We want that to be a common thing. Excellent. So we can possibly expect something from Hammer Films on that. All sorts of things. We're very excited. I think you're going to be excited when you see the end product. Absolutely. We thank you so much, Senator, for your tremendous work as co-lead on this committee planning the People's Forum here in Antigua Barbuda. I see how you have envisioned it as something that is really going to be making such a significant difference. Wish you all the best as you continue those discussions and, of course, as you finalize the program. So the People's Forum, open to everyone, of course, following the registration process, and we'll talk to you as we continue our road to CHOGM programs going forward. We'll continue to engage you about how you can register and how you can be a part of the People's Forum. Open to everyone at AUA November 2 and 3 this year. And of course, the members of the civil society will have their chance to speak with foreign ministers across the Commonwealth on the 4th. That is the final day of CHOGM 2026. It is an amazing time to be in Antigua Barbuda, an amazing time to be in the Commonwealth.
An amazing time to be planning the People's Forum. And certainly, Senator Obina St. Louis is showing that excitement as she plans for the People's Forum. When we come out much more here on this special edition of The Road to CHOGM, as we continue to engage you on the preparations for Antigua and Barbuda's historic hosting of the Commonwealth Heads of Government Meeting 2026. Stay with us. Still here at the local shop and tasting bar in Bay Gardens, a fantastic location to talk about creatives and to talk about the extent to which the People's Forum is going to turbocharge the discussions about creatives and helping them to advance their interests. I'm pleased to be joined now on the special edition of The Road to CHOGM by Zara Errol. She's a well-known educator in this country, and she's also the creative industry's liaison to the People's Forum Planning Committee. Zara Errol will talk about how creatives will be looking forward to having their voices heard in the People's Forum. Good evening to you. Welcome to the special edition.
Thank you. And salut.
Yes, there you go.
Here's to CHOGM,
Absolutely.
the People's Forum, and bringing the creatives to the table.
Absolutely.
Let's take a sip. Yes,
of
bad
course,
luck
of course.
if you cheers and don't sip.
By the way,
This is delicious.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Thanks, of course, to the local shop and
Yes.
tasting bar. We're doing our own tasting as well. Let's talk about the creatives and how you're going to be playing a part in this People's Forum. How excited are you about this?
I am super excited because normally when huge events happen, especially those of national, international levels, political levels, and so forth, creatives are often left out, even though we're the first to be called for entertainment, to break up the monotony of the forum or the speeches, the meetings. They want that entertainment value. And I love the fact that the People's Forum is going to be affording creatives their own space. They're going to be affording creatives a seat at that table, not only to discuss what impacts us, our challenges, but also to foster very good networking opportunities throughout the Commonwealth. Something I'm always telling my students, do it, because you never know who's going to see you, don't know who's going to approach you, and we're bringing this here to Antigua with the People's Forum. I'm so grateful for the team for including the creatives, not as a side act, but definitely as a point of focus. So I'm looking forward to the discussions, not only on how we can improve our art forms, no matter what it is, dance, music, singing, the visual arts, theater, whatever the arts are, not only how we can improve our products, but how we can also market them for the international markets. So I'm looking forward to the possible partnerships that are going to come out of the People's Forum.
So you're certainly brimming with excitement, certainly, as we look forward to this tremendous event and the activity. What specific areas of the creative industry do you think can be driven, most emphatically by having this discussion in the People's Forum coming November? Definitely
making the creative industries more prominent as one of the industries coming out of Antigua and Barbuda. You know, we have larger islands who have successfully done so, and Antigua is brimming with so much talent. We have amazing voices. We have persons in the film industry who are doing amazing projects right now, and the quality is of an international level. We have visual artists who are absolutely amazing. So for sure, again, as I said, the networking and looking at how those opportunities become more accessible to us here, not only in the Caribbean, but specifically in Antigua and Barbuda. So that's one of the opportunities that I really want us as creatives to maximize. So when you hear of CHOGM, don't think that, oh, it's just for the suits. Don't think that it's just for the persons that have titles or the persons that sit in Parliament. This is for all of us, and this is one of the areas that the People's Forums focuses on. So come on out to the activities that you are invited to that are open to the public. You will get the opportunity to be part of the discussion. And for me, once we get the discussions going, that's half of the battle right there. And of course, There are things that we still have to learn, still have to master. And that's something as a creative. If you think you have mastered it all, there's nothing left for you to create. So it's going to be an exciting opportunity, not just to expose our people and our talent, and of course, as a Caribbean, we got to talk about Antigua and Barbuda.
Absolutely.
Of course, it's an opportunity for us to expose what is Antiguan and Barbudan talent, and to form those partnerships, look at what some of the other nations in the Commonwealth are doing so that we can learn from them. And I am confident they're going to learn some stuff from us right here in Antigua and Barbuda.
How excited is the rest of the creative industry, the orange economy, and the rest of, for example, your colleagues across the creative industry in terms of marketing their own skills and talents and creative juices towards a Commonwealth audience?
Definitely the feedback has been positive, and they are looking forward to learning, to exposing, and to just networking. Right now, the Commonwealth had the thread competition that's closed, and right now they're vetting. So I am hoping that a lot of us have actually taken advantage of that particular opportunity, because the selected works will be on display during CHOGM in November, and there will also be like a digital display as well. So that's a start right there. And then when the actual event happens, of course, again, you're going to want to break up the monotony with performances, with artwork. So that is going to begin shortly. So listen out, follow the CHOGM page, please, on Facebook for the updates, so that you get the opportunity to have your work displayed, not just on a regional level, but international. And I mean, again, we're halfway there. You just don't know who's going to see the work, who's going to fall in love with your art, your voice, your music, your style of cinematography. So we do want persons to follow the page so that you can get in contact with us as we go through this process to finalize who will actually be present during the meetings. The concept is to have a somewhat moving display, because as persons move from one area to the next between the meetings, we want to expose that talent. And definitely, it's in Antigua and Barbuda. We have to be present for sure, And again, even the formal part of it, as artists, sometimes we don't want to talk about that, but we have to, because how else are we going to get our work out there if we don't put on the suits when we need to? So I'm looking forward to the forum where our creatives can actually participate in the discussion, to not only share some of the challenges, but to learn how we can create solutions that will strengthen the market. I hope that one day the creative industry can stand on its own, that is self-sustaining. So as a director, that's all I want to be doing. I just want to be directing, and I'm getting paid for that. Visual artists, I know that that's all they would love to be doing. And I feel that the People's Forum is definitely an awesome place to start. Have the conversations, learn, come up with solutions, and again, the networking. We have to capitalize on that.
That's fantastic. We're surrounded in the local shop here in Bay Gardens by tremendous pieces of art and local juices and local everything. Even fantastic. How do you think the creative industry now can use, for example, this location and similar locations to really push and to really ensure that it creates this ecosystem that can self-sustain, it can stand on its own?
Definitely. Again, it's an opportunity, and it will also force some of us to step up our game. Some of us, we are stuck in a little niche, but that niche is just localized to, I'm not going to even say Antigua and Barbuda, maybe just the community that you're in. And we're looking at something as simple as marketing, something as simple as your package. You understand?
Absolutely.
So sometimes we can't take things like that for granted, because sometimes we have products that are fantastic, but the way we package it may need a little improvement, and that is where CHOGM comes in and that opportunity. So you have between now and November to rebrand, to readjust, reevaluate your product, your presentation, and your market, because this is the ideal opportunity for you to broaden your market and your audience.
There's Nollywood, there's Bollywood, there's Hollywood. Is it time for what Hollywood?
The way you put that, I don't know.
It perhaps doesn't have the same ring to it. Yes.
But
or Bollywood,
definitely,
perhaps. I don't know.
I
Yes.
think so. I mean, right now on the ground, there is a collective of local filmmakers who are getting together every so often to produce what we call passion projects. And this opportunity is going to be able to display what is capable. So you have a team, because I mean, we always have people coming to Antigua to film, but with these projects, they're going to see, oh, we have people in Antigua that can do X, Y, Z. And even locally now, more persons will be able to realize, wow, we do have people that are able to present the caliber of that work. So look out for even projects like that. And that's what I'm saying. It's not just limited to film, but even in terms of theater. And you know, that's my first love. You understand? I can't wait till the day that we have our own mini theater district, with shows that run more than 1 or 2 nights. We have shows that are running for a month, that the tourists can come and visit, that we have matinees, that when they come off the ship, they know they're going to this theater house or that theater house, and you're seeing the quality of New York, of London, of Chicago, and even better right here in Little Wadadley for sure. And it's just exciting. It's just exciting. I really am appealing to all persons in the creative industries to put your best foot forward, because again, I'm treating you like my students. You never know who is going to see you. You don't know what is going to happen, and the connections and markets that are coming for the CHOGM, for the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. Someone from Antigua might end up directing something in a country in Africa. Somebody might end up working in the UK. The possibilities are definitely endless, but we need to make sure that we are putting forward the best products possibly, and that we are also open to learning and sharing and networking. Never know what's going to happen.
An opportunity, will this present an opportunity for the creative industry, the creatives, to display their specific products? Let's say, for example, what we're seeing here displayed at a local shop and tasting bar, would it also present an opportunity at the People's Forum? Would there be an opportunity for that?
The People's Forum is actually going to be held at the American University of Antigua, and part of our mission or our vision is to create spaces within that center that as you're walking from one forum to the next, or one lecture or discussion panel to the next, you are passing the products, the art pieces, and even live performances. So we definitely don't plan for the People's Forum to be just a shirt and tie, sit and sip type of thing. We want it to be interactive, so definitely we plan on having our local artists on display, whether it is the visual artists, the, as you said, the orange economy, the musicians, the dancers, the stilt walkers, the pan players, our musicians, our food, our products that can be exported. We plan to set up a space in such a way that you will not ignore us.
I get the impression you're planning something special. You may not be able to go into a lot of details, Zara, but you're planning something special, knowing you as specifically for the People's Forum. You're planning something special for that. You know, a theatrical presentation, possibly?
You want that?
I think you should.
So that's what you want to happen?
Yes, I think you should.
No problem. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. So you see, that means that you just have to be in attendance.
That sounds like a plan. Dan, that sounds like a cliffhanger on which a perfect way for us to end. Cheers again. Cheers to the possibility.
Possibilities
yes.
becoming realities
yes,
at CHOGM 2026 right here in Antigua and Barbuda.
Fantastic opportunity to ensure that creatives get the best opportunity, perhaps in a lifetime, to market their creative manifestations and products to an audience of 2.7 billion people. This is breathtaking, epoch-making for the creative industry. You don't want to miss more of it. And of course, there's a reason why we've come here to the local shop and tasting bar, because it's all local here. Everything behind us, around us, everything's local. We'll talk more about that a bit later on. You're in tune with the special edition of The Road to CHOGM. Stay with us, please. All right, so the People's Forum is focused on getting the concerns of civil society, engaging with civil society, and passing these concerns on to the heads of government of the 56-member Commonwealth. That's what it's about. And so joining us now on the special edition of The Road to CHOGM is the Director of Operations for IHO, that's Integrated Health Outreach. She's also the civil society organization's liaison to the committee planning the People's Forum. Brittany McDonald is now my guest on this special edition of the program. Thank you so much for joining us, Brittany.
Thank you for having me, Garfield. It's exciting to be here.
Absolutely. So let's talk about how you've been engaging with the committee planning the People's Forum, and are civil society really engaged in this process?
Yes. So we appreciate that both Senator and Ambassador Marshall and Abina would have invited us to be a part of the People's Forum. This is super exciting because we had the experience with SIDS, the conference in May of 2014, and that was an international stage. And I think that's been a launching platform because we've had the OAS conference here as well. And so with us being a part of the People's Forum, it's an opportunity for us to continue building on those initiatives where we're getting civil society not only around the Caribbean region, but now the Commonwealth together, having conversations about what actions we need to take together to have impact that can last for future generations.
Brilliant. So Integrated Health Outreach, how many civil society organizations does it engage with, does it represent? Is it an umbrella organization for the civil society organizations?
So within these conference settings, we have acted as umbrella organizations. With SIDS, we were able to gather around 100 organizations and individuals representing not only civil society, but also within media and within the private sector who needed support with the accreditation process. So we're hoping to serve in a similar role as well, because we also have informal groups around the Commonwealth who they may not be registered, they may not be able to demonstrate that they have the documentation needed, and so we'll be able to provide that support in the days leading up to the registration process and eventually CHOGM in November.
Very good. Let's talk about the extent to which you've been able to engage with a wide cross-section of civil society, because we know that there are those who are always going to be represented, but as wide as possible a cross-section of civil society. How has that outreach been going?
Yeah, definitely. So within our network, we look at everyone who's operating at a regional level as well, and that's within their own regions, and then also looking at the local level, the grassroots, right? Because we don't want to forget the sports clubs, the community groups, and so IHO has a great network already of persons who have engaged with us, not only on conference-related activities, but we've done regional projects throughout the Caribbean. We even have one active now within disaster resilience infrastructure for education, and that's including St. Lucia as well, which would be in the Commonwealth. But we also engage as well outside with the Dominican Republic in that particular project, but it just gives us an understanding of what's happening within the region as well as within other regions in the Pacific, as well as in other areas focused on small island developing states, but again, the Commonwealth.
Oh, good. So you're not just focusing on, for example, Antigua and Barbuda in terms of being an umbrella for civil society groups in Antigua and Barbuda, but you're focusing on the entire Commonwealth.
Yes, so that will be our standpoint moving forward, and we're navigating that now, so it's still in the infancy phases, so I can't share the exact route, But it's something that we are looking forward to, and also donors who've supported us in the past are also looking forward to as well, with the People's Forum and also with the Women's Forum component.
Okay, so for now, you're mostly focused on the Caribbean. So Antigua
Yes.
Barbuda and the rest of the Caribbean.
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
And we've begun engaging informally in conversations. One of those happening in Jamaica, where I was able to speak to some persons who were attending the stakeholder engagement held by the Caribbean Development Bank, but they were also going for some other donor-funded workshops and engagements. And so we're trying to kind of marry stakeholder engagement so that there's not fatigue coming on, because we know that a lot of the organizations, they have small teams, and it's going to be difficult if they're getting information from too many different sources. So we're trying to provide an overarching umbrella, as we say, so that they can have that information funneled down. And again, with the People's Forum Committee, we're working on that component. And then we also have our content design committee meetings where we're understanding what speaking spaces, I should say, are available, and then how we can channel the right persons into that conversation that discuss gender equity, that discuss the environment, that discuss governance. These are the topics that we're seeing come to the forefront, bubbling up, and we want to be able to give those voices every opportunity to shine.
Your word to civil society organizations, whether they be part of groups, established registered groups, or just be individuals, who want to get their concerns to the heads of government of the Commonwealth, what would be your advice to them?
My advice would be, one, to stay connected with the People's Forum Committee, to stay connected with Integrated Health Outreach, because we're going to be having different activities leading up to CHOGM. We're on the planning side right now of potential side events, and also looking at the social media campaigns and noting that your individual voice, it matters, it counts, and it's going to radiate, because here we're in Antigua and Barbuda, we're in the Caribbean, but the Commonwealth is global. And so we have the opportunity to connect with each other, to make new friends, to build new networks, and it all starts with you being motivated to start.
Extraordinary comments there. And by the way, we're at this fantastic location, at the local shop and tasting bar here in Bay Gardens. We need to have a cheers for an extraordinary event. That's okay. That's okay. All part of it. We need to take a sip, right? Fantastic.
Delicious.
Very sparkling. And it is an opportunity for creatives. It is almost a hub for creatives here, the same way, and the People's Forum is going to be a hub for creatives and to get their concerns to the heads of government, and also to find a pathway for them to advocate on the issues affecting civil society organizations. By the way, volunteers are also needed for the People's Forum, so we will also ask you to check to see all the pages and to register to be a volunteer for the People's Forum as well. November 2 and 3, 2026, happening at the American University of Antigua, AUA, the People's Forum. The voice of civil society organizations will be heard across the entire Commonwealth and by the heads of government of the 56-member grouping. We thank Brittany McDonald, who is, of course, the Director of Operations for Integrated Health Outreach and Civil Society Organizations Liaison with the committee who is planning this People's Forum. When we come back, much more here from a special edition of The Road to CHOGM, happening right here at the local shop and tasting bar. Stay with us. We're still here at the local shop and tasting bar, and we've talked to some of the key functionaries behind the planning for the People's Forum, which will happen on the 2nd and 3rd of November this year on the sidelines. One of the four fora that will take place on the sidelines of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting held here in Antigua Barbuda for the first time, a historic development, historic milestone for the country. All right, so we want to talk to the owner of this establishment, which is an extraordinary establishment which is focusing on all local products, whether it be jewelry, works of art, cosmetic products. Extraordinary. Let's talk with him. Let's tell me your name.
David
please.
Murphy, welcome.
Excellent. And my understanding is your wife is also
Yes, so she's
working alongside
my partner in this. Yeah. Basically, I do the production side. She handles anything involving spreadsheets. She's also an artist, so she does amazing paintings that become our artwork on our bottles. It really gives it another level of craftsmanship.
Wow, wow. How has it been going? When did you start, and how has it been
So
going?
we started in 2016, right at the end of 2016, and so we're almost coming up on 10 years now. But that was as the distillery, as Antilles Stillhouse, making amazing craft spirits using some of the great flavors. Antigua is a special place. We don't have normal place weeds. We have really interesting plants.
Yes.
So this is a real treasure trove for people like me who can capture those flavors and create things with them. We're best known for our gin, our Bigwood gin. Combined honestly, Bigwood Hill. But yeah, basically we are using local flavors. We're out there picking lemongrass, we're out there picking Cassie bush flowers and things like that to really give it a sense of place, a spirit that really tastes of here.
Wow. So everything in here, except for probably a few books, local.
Absolutely, yeah. So a few years back, I guess almost 7 years, we started getting involved with local artisans doing farmers markets and craft markets. We eventually kind of took that over in the organization side of it and doing basically Christmas markets in particular, where it would be just a real vibe. You come in, you can smell spice in the air. I'm there with my pot of mulled gin. Everyone's having a good time, there's music. And through that, we met all these other artisans, these people who were just up and coming, maybe it's their side project, something they just do on the weekends. And so many of them are this close. They have a really great product. Maybe they need a little twist on the branding. They need to get in contact with a good sticker guy. But this kind of allowed the next step up and a real great opportunity for them as well as us.
What do you make of the People's Forum's focus on getting the creatives, getting the creative industry, getting local entrepreneurs into that process now of taking their message to heads of government?
I love that. I mean, what a brilliant spotlight. Like, basically, much of the world is going to be looking at this little island. And if you're talking about things like culture, like what more is culture than your creatives, your people who are that spearhead of culture, who are maintaining traditions and recreating them and evolving culture. So what a great place to focus on when you have that opportunity, when you have that spotlight on us as a country.
Joining me now from the Commonwealth Secretariat in the United Kingdom is Thomas Muntali, who is the head of Economic Policy and Small States at the Commonwealth Secretariat. Mr. Muntali will speak with us about some of the key discussions that will unfold this November as Antigua and Barbuda hosts, in a historic fashion, the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Muntali. Really appreciate your company from the UK. More to come here on this major edition of The Road to CHOGM. It is an extraordinary journey that we are on, making sure that you are kept fully abreast of all the developments as Antigua and Barbuda prepares to host the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, and in particular, this People's Forum, November 2 and 3, 2026. When we come back, we'll hear from the Commonwealth Secretariat. We'll hear from the head of the Economic Policy and Small States Unit within the Commonwealth Secretariat. We wonder, of course, this Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting being organized by the Commonwealth Secretariat and Antigua Barbuda and so many other stakeholders. So we'll get the view from London when we come back from this break. Stay with us.
And we look forward to welcoming 56 countries to our shows.
Antigua and Barbuda will be at the center of global business this November. For the first time in its history, the country will host the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, CHOGM. A key part of those talks will be the Commonwealth Business Forum.
A lot of business people will come to our country, and they will share technological developments, they will share investment opportunities, and we certainly want to make sure that our local business people are at the table.
Decision makers and thought leaders in business will converge on Antigua for this blockbuster event. Local businesses will get their chance to network and explore cutting-edge partnerships to take their enterprise to the world. Don't be left behind in this fast-changing global environment as technology moves at warp speed. Find out how you and your business can be a part of the Commonwealth Business Forum from November 2 to 4, 2026.
Contact the planning office at 464-5113 today.
The Commonwealth Business Forum will be game-changing. Be a part of it.
Antigua, are you ready to feel the rhythm? The ultimate breakfast fed experience is back. And we're celebrating 10 years strong. Good morning, the inclusive 10. Not just a fed, it's an experience. More than 10 food stalls, more than 10 drink stations, premium vibes, premium service every single time. The lineup, Nadia Batson and her full band. Tian Winter and Iconic, Claudette CP Peters and the Serpents Band, Adamo, 3-Cylinder Band, Caution Band, Shelly and the Signal Band. Plus other surprise artists. Sunday, July 26, 2026 at Coolidge Cricket Ground, 4 a.m. to noon. Tickets now $375 until May 31st, $450. So don't wait. Group special, 10 or more persons, $300 each until stocks last. Call 726-1006 or 764-7311. Get yours now at Cutting Edge, Exotic Antigua, Roti King, M&M Service Station, The Ladder, Honeymotos, or online at the ticketing app. No gate sales, limited capacity. Good morning, the inclusive 10.
From Boosted Seeds, I carry no cash. I tap and pay. I'm done in a flash.
Adventure is done. We grab a bite. I tap my card. It feels just right.
We booked our trip and paid with ease. Checked my rewards. Upgrade, yes please.
Paid it online while out with the crew. Tap for drinks. It's easy to do.
They tap, I drive. It's quick, it's clear. No counting cash or waiting here.
I use my card to keep things smooth. And my rewards? Wow, they really move.
ACB Visa Credit Card. My life, my card, my rewards. Get yours today. Terms and conditions apply.
This summer, the Caribbean's premier music experience returns. Welcome to the 28th edition of the St. Kitts Music Festival, featuring the incredible Kilani, Fantasia, Beres Hammond, Luciano, Soca King Marshall Montano, Soca Sensation Voice, and Vaughn. Dancehall giant Movado, Idonia, and the new wave, Valiant. Also featuring Massacre, Cranium, Taurus Riley, Steel Pulse, Dean Fraser and the Black Soil Band, Chanel Muir, Diani, Rodney Tatat, and Zoo. The legendary New Vibes Band International, Brandon and ASAP Band, Shelly and Signal Band, plus Edwin Yearwood and Crossfire, Lucas HE, and Garlic and the Upper Level Band. June 25th to June 27th, Warner Park Cricket Stadium, St. Kitts. Get your tickets now at stkittsmusicfestival.com. The St. Kitts Music Festival, where music meets paradise.
From the Commonwealth Secretariat in the United Kingdom is Thomas Muntali, who is the head of Economic Policy and Small States at the Commonwealth Secretariat. Mr. Muntali will speak with us about some of the key discussions that will unfold this November as Antigua and Barbuda hosts in a historic fashion the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Muntali. We really appreciate your company from the UK.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Let's start off here in terms of you're in charge of the unit for small states, the economic and small states unit in the Commonwealth. How are small states defined in the context of the Commonwealth, and how many of these states are within the 56-member grouping?
Right. So the Commonwealth as a group has got 56 members. And out of them, 33 are small states, so basically representing close to 60%. And 25 of them actually are small island developing states, so quite a good number of them, about 76% of them.
Absolutely. So this is a huge subset of the 56-member grouping. So certainly in terms of policies relating to small states constitute a crucial element of their work. Let's talk about your role, Thomas, in assisting and advancing the interests of these 33 states which are members of the Commonwealth.
Right. So the economic policy and small states as a section is very instrumental in two key areas. First is to advance the advocacy of small, advocating for small states' well-being in 5 interlinked areas, areas of economic vulnerability, access to finance, climate action, debt sustainability, and digital transformation. But second, and more important to this, in line with our new strategic plan as per the new leadership of the Commonwealth Secretariat, is to really focus on how we can promote a lot more access to finance. Because access to finance would guarantee that the countries would have resources for achieving their economic transformation. They can address issues of climate action. They can deal with digital transformation and debt sustainability. So access to finance in 2 folds. First, in accessing resources from the international sources so that they are able to get financing that is long-term and with the very low interest payments, which is sustainable in a way. And again, looking at domestic resource mobilization so that that being the most sustainable path, so that whatever resources they are getting from the international finance institutions, how are they developing their own sectors like tourism, mining, manufacturing, to make sure that they're able to mobilize more domestic revenues locally. And linked to that is to make sure that they have effective economic policies, because you can mobilize the resources, but if you do not have effective economic policies, then the resources may not effectively utilized. So those are the areas that we are promoting really under the current strategic plan that we have for the Commonwealth.
Very, very good as well on that. And specifically now, Mr. Muntali, what can these 33 small states that were members of the Commonwealth, what can they look forward to in terms of advancing their interests when CHOGM 2026 happens here in Antigua?
Right, so this is a very important question, because it then goes beyond what I just mentioned to look at how do we help the member countries to really have some sound and practical solutions, because we want to use this platform in trying to scale up initiatives that the Commonwealth Secretariat is having to do along with his partners. That's why the theme of this particular CHOGM is about accelerating partnerships and invest in making sure that there's sustainable prosperity in our member countries. So some of the issues is about how they can learn from each other and also to promote scalable interventions. For example, there is, I'm sure that you might be aware about the Commonwealth Climate Finance Access Hub, which is helping member countries like Antigua and Barbuda to be able to build their internal capacities on how they can mobilize climate finance resources to scale them up in huge ways in their countries. And we know countries like Antigua and Barbuda have already managed to access more than 10 million over 2017-2023, and they're accessing more because of the technical expertise that we've placed within their institutions to help them in mobilizing resources. And this applies to all the other small states, including aspects of how we can promote digitalization in terms of investments, how countries like Mauritius are promoting exports through digital ways, and how they are also trying to support countries. I mean, we're supporting countries on debt management because a lot of the seeds have little fiscal spaces, and that has meant that they are faced with huge debt. And so one of the key elements that this particular CHOGM is looking at is how do we scale that up? Countries like Antigua and Barbuda have, the Commonwealth Meridian software, which helps in, recording, monitoring, and analyzing the debt, which then helps to make decisions that can help it to have sustainable debt in the process. So there is a whole lot of things, including the ocean governance, the blue economy support, how we can advocate more for small states at the global stage, basically targeting the vulnerabilities, the multi-dimensional vulnerabilities that small states face. So it's going to be a very defining moment.
Prime Minister Gaston Brown, the Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, has been, in fact, he was the one who co-chaired a high-level UN panel on the Multidimensional Vulnerability Index, the MVI, and that seeks to broaden the criteria for determining a country's access to concessional financing or official development assistance, ODA. So in other words, he doesn't want it to only be gross national income per capita, but he also wants to have other vulnerabilities looked at as well. I get the impression that you'll also be looking at the MVI as well.
Absolutely, absolutely, because you might recall that the Commonwealth Secretariat has been party to pushing for this agenda for years. And the matter of fact, it came up with the Universal Vulnerability Index, UVI, which then in turn informed the MVI. So for us, the MVI is like something that we cannot, run away from. It's something that we've been part and parcel in terms of informing. So we would want to see it being put into implementation. We're excited that the UN is really keen to move forward with that, and we are party to it as Commonwealth Secretariat in pushing for that. But also we've seen that the international finance institutions, including the World Bank and others, are embracing more of it. And we want to make sure that that is embraced even more, that there are more facilities and instruments that are really talking to multidimensional vulnerability to make sure that seeds and indeed small states in general are really being supported in ways that are sustainable, so that their economies cannot just get wiped out within a single goal, but that mechanisms are in place for them to access financing long-term and financing that is sustainable in that regard. So totally agree with you that that's a very important agenda item as well on vulnerability.
And a final question, Mr. Muntali, specifically, you yourself, are you looking forward to coming to Antigua and Barbuda? Will this be your first time here for the CHOGM?
Yes, this is my first time, and I can't wait to be in Antigua and Barbuda. I've been trying to browse through the web to look at how beautiful this place has been. Actually, my family is very green with envy. They wish they had come along with me. But I think the beauty is that when we're there, it also helps some of us that are doing work around small states to even learn from those that are doing work for small states that will be at that platform. So it's going to be an important networking platform so that we can see how best to accelerate the efforts that we're already putting up for the small states, especially cities like Antigua and Barbuda.
Mr. Muntali, thank you so much for your time. We're indebted to you for sharing those insights and whetting our appetites for what will be, what promise to be extraordinary discussions, consequential discussions, impactful discussions, and crucially, discussions which are results-oriented, solutions-oriented, especially in a very, very difficult geopolitical environment, certainly for the entire Commonwealth, but particularly for small states which have particular and peculiar vulnerabilities, even more so than the general Commonwealth grouping. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Have a good one. Take care. So we want to thank our guests for having joined us for this extraordinary edition as we have gone several miles on the road to CHOGM. Of course, our most recent guest there was Thomas Muntali, who is the head of economic policy in small states at the Commonwealth Secretariat in London in the UK. We want to thank our previous guests, our earlier guests on the show, Senator Abina St. Louis, who is a co-lead on that planning committee for the People's Forum, the Commonwealth People's Forum, to be held November 2 and 3. That's Senator Abina St. Louis speaking with us about the tremendous planning process involved as well. Plus, Zara Errol, who is, of course, an educator par excellence. She's also the creative industries liaison on the planning committee for the Commonwealth People's Forum. Plus, Brittany MacDonald, who is Director of Operations at IHO, that's Integrated Health Outreach. And she's also the Civil Society Outreach or Civil Society Organizations Liaison on the Planning Committee. David Murphy is the owner of the local shop and a tasting bar, And he joined us about his extraordinary journey, making sure that all local products are sold. And it is some of these local products that will be on show, and some of the creative talent of people in this country and across the Commonwealth, which will be on show at the Commonwealth People's Forum in November. I'm Garfield Burford on behalf of the entire team. See you next week, same time, same place, Wednesday at 8 for another edition of The Road to CHOGM, where we take you even more miles as we get closer to Antigua Barbuda's historic hosting of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in November. Bye-bye.